Coming up next on Tech News Today, the Amazon Echo and Google Home could someday become speakerphones. Also, Verizon is apparently close to picking its reduced price for its buyout of Yahoo. eSight brings AR technology to the legally blind, the pitfalls for brands that do business with influencers, and the story of the heroic Tesla driver. All that and more coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and once again, time for Twit's audience survey. We'd really like to hear from you. It's only going to take a couple of minutes, really. That's all. Just go to twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. Your anonymous feedback will help us make Twit even better. And thanks for your continued support.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1706, recorded Wednesday, February 15th, 2017.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. When it comes to the big decision of choosing a mortgage lender, work with one who has your best interest in mind. Use Rocket Mortgage for a transparent, trustworthy home loan process that's completely online at quickenloans.com/TNT.
And by Grasshopper. Stay connected and run your business from your mobile phone with Grasshopper. To save $50 on your order, visit trygrasshopper.com/twit.
Welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about the latest in technology.
And we just keep talking and we never stop.
After about 45 minutes, we stop.
Yeah.
I am Megan Maroney.
And I'm Jason Howell. You ready to start talking?
I am.
Let's get to talking.
According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, you might soon be able to make and receive phone calls with your Amazon Echo or your Google Home. People familiar with the matter said the phone service might roll out as early as this year, provided they are able to overcome regulatory hurdles and some privacy concerns. Amazon might give its home device its own phone number, whereas Google Home already has a telephony system in place. Jason Howell, would you speak into a device that you know has the ability to record your conversation?
I mean, I kind of already do. I'm a Google Voice user, and so I'm using Google's VoIP to route a lot of my calls anyways. I'm guessing that would be part of what would make this happen on the Google Home.
But but your Google Home, you talk to it and you know it's recording what you're saying. Would you be comfortable having a whole entire phone conversation and any phone conversation?
Well, I mean, how much is it recording? It's not recording your entire phone conversation.
Well, you don't know what it's doing.
Well, we don't know what our phone's ever doing, really.
That's
right?
true.
Somebody could be watching me through my webcam right now. I don't actually know.
That's true.
I don't know.
You've given up.
Kind of. I mean, it's the convenience versus security sort of thing, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I would be interested if there was phone functionality. I'm sure I would use it because having a hands-free phone call, sometimes there's a lot of reason why I'm in the kitchen doing dishes or whatever, or cleaning things up. And many times, put the headset in my phone, put the phone in my pocket, whatever, do it through the Google Home instead. I think that'd be pretty cool. I wonder how the microphones would work. Like, I know that the microphones in these devices have, like, the array of mics have to be really good, especially considering the fact that they pick up audio from across the room. So I know that the technology is there for it to potentially sound good. How would that translate to the person on the other side of the line? Because I wouldn't use it more than a couple of times if every time I did, they're like, huh? You sound like you're across the room. Because I am across the room.
Yeah, that is a good point. I guess, okay, you know how Google Assistant, when you're in Allo, you're in Allo, you're chatting with a friend, then all of a sudden Google Assistant bugs you and says like, oh, are you thinking of this? Or like it just completely gets, you know what I'm talking about? It gets in, when Brian, you and I were having that chat and then Google Assistant was like, do you want this GIF? I find that very disturbing, and I would feel like I was having a conversation and like my Amazon Echo would start saying, before you were ordering toilet paper. I don't know what in reference to.
You say something that's not true, and it's like, actually, Megan, I have a recording of you saying the other thing. Here, listen.
Right.
Yeah, like it would sabotage you.
Like I use it to remind me about something. And it's like, oh, you can't go out on that date that someone just asked you because you're married. But, that was a horrible example.
Damn you, Amazon Echo, always getting in the way.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, I would afraid that it would insinuate itself into my phone conversations.
I would hope that they would know not to do that when they're setting these things up so that they don't do that. I mean, it's one thing if you're in a chat environment and Allo or whatever you're using is giving you options that tie into what you're talking about. Like, oh yeah, you want to go eat at Jack in the Box later, and then it's like, which Jack in the Box, and it gives you the little card to tap, and you can navigate right there. Like, I kind of get that, but when you're talking about like an audio only device that you talk to and everything like that, I could imagine that. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. If that happened, it would probably encourage me not to use it, because that just seems a little too intrusive.
Yeah.
And I agree, kind of creepy.
So this is just a rumor right now. Amazon and Google neither would comment on the story. So I don't know. I just I think I probably would use it because it's that kind of convenience over privacy. I was just thinking about this last night. Like, oh, my Amazon Echo can do everything but make phone calls and accept phone calls. So
do you make a lot of phone calls?
No, not really. Do you?
No, not really. So
I know.
I don't know if that's more of a reason for it to exist or less of a reason for it to exist, because it would be there the one or two times I would ever use it.
Right.
I'll take more features over less features, so I'm down with that. We've wondered for months what the fallout would be for Yahoo's $4.8 billion buyout agreement with Verizon in light of a number of major security breaches made public last year. Sources tell Bloomberg and Recode that Verizon is near completion of a renegotiated deal that could cut anywhere from $250 million to $350 million from that price. As well, after the deal is finalized, Verizon and Altaba Inc., that's the renamed Yahoo, once the deal goes through, will share in liabilities for future breaches. I think actually a lot of that liability goes to Altaba in the agreement. But I don't know. I saw this number and it seems kind of low for the biggest tech data breaches ever.
Yeah, I was thinking the opposite, but I sometimes say 1,000 when I mean million. So obviously you can't trust me.
It happens.
But I don't know. That's $350 million is a lot to cut off of that.
I mean, it's a large number, but when you're talking about a deal that's around $4.8 billion and you're talking about a brand such as Yahoo that has repeated issues with security, like 2 or 3 last year. They just reported today they issued a warning to some users about a separate forged cookie attack on users. So it's like there's something wrong going on here. Yeah. And it's not the same Yahoo that Verizon initially agreed to buy. Verizon's offer came before all of this stuff even hit the public, and Yahoo had been sitting on some of it for a while. I think they're pretty major discoveries, and I think that they affect the brand. I just would have assumed, I don't know, $500 million. I would have, $500 million, somewhere around there was kind of what I was thinking, and then you negotiate upwards or downwards from there. This just seemed kind of low to me.
Yeah. They're also, if by the Wall Street Journal says by agreeing to this deal, they are agreeing Verizon they'll give up the right to sue Yahoo for not revealing this, which is what, they're already being investigated by the SEC because they gave incomplete information. And so, yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know where they came upon that number. But yeah,
they've thought about it really, really hard. And they probably wrote it on a piece of paper and went like this to Yahoo. Yahoo shares jumped 2%. So take from that what you will.
Lance Ulanoff from Mashable reviews eSight, a new headset that can help many people who are legally blind be able to see. The special visor comes equipped with a high-speed, high-definition camera, 2 sensors, 2 OLED screens, and a controller that helps people with severely low vision adjust what they're seeing. The device uses liquid lens technology to display high-contrast, high-color images that make it easier to see objects and easier to read. The device has FDA Type 1 clearance and costs $10,000. And right now, most insurance doesn't cover it. But I think it's exciting for the future. If you were a Star Trek or are a Star Trek Next Generation fan, you think Geordie LaForge. That's sort of what we've got going on here.
Absolutely. Although his was a little slimmer and sleeker, I would say. But this doesn't look too bad. I mean, well, I mean, it's a visor over your face. But we've adjusted over the course of the last year. We've gotten very used to seeing visors on faces. So this is actually kind of an improvement from a lot of the VR headsets that we've seen.
Well,
and obviously better from functionality
better to be able
perspective.
If you can't see things.
Yeah, like you'll do what you need to. I think this is awesome technology. And it has a little remote, like you said, basically that allows the wearer to control what they're seeing, maybe zoom in, I guess, up to 24 times onto images to help them see, read, all that kind of stuff. The article features Yvonne Felix. That's kind of the subject of Lance's piece. And Yvonne said about wearing the eSight headset, it was the first time I saw my husband and son, who was 2 months old, and my 6-year-old son. And that's just like, man, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
This is an example of, like, we talk so much about virtual reality and augmented reality in these kind of entertainment sort of ways, and then trying to find, like, what is the deeper kind of potential of this technology. This is kind of an extension of that. But, I mean, literally eye-opening. Like, it opens up a whole new world to people who couldn't see very well at all.
Yeah, I mean, Yvonne is a spokesperson for the company, we should say, but she was a fan of Star Trek, and she remembers this character thinking that he was her hero, and she says, one day she hoped there was a device like that. So she's been trying it for about 4 years. That was a prototype, and now what she is using now in the video is much better. So if you are interested in this, you can go to the eSight website, and there's next steps. So we can put this link on our website too, so you can speak to a vision advocate. I am surprised. Someone with more medical insurance experience will have to tell me why insurance wouldn't cover part of this.
Maybe because it's a new technology and it isn't proven.
Well, it has
I don't know.
FDA Type 1 approval. So
yeah, I don't know. I wish I understood more about how the insurance world works in that regard. But
well, if someone does, write to us.
Let us know. TNT@twit.tv. HTC reported another rough quarter. Actually, revenue down 13% year over year. Everybody's pulling for HTC, but it just doesn't happen. HTC says that they are going to actually abandon the entry-level phone market this year, focusing instead on flagships like the upcoming release of the HTC U series of phones. HTC also told CNET that it's working on a new take on mobile VR, probably not as life-changing as the previous headset we were talking about. But in this case, they say it's not a phone slapped into a headset. No word on exactly how it plans to differentiate, but HTC says the VR product will launch before year's end. I think it's smart of HTC to, I mean, they've had a lot of progress with HTC Vive from a brand and marketing perspective. I feel like the Vive is one of the bright kind of spots of their catalog right now. Their phones, they've really struggled for the last however many years, not because their phones aren't that good, but just because they're not competitive from a marketing standpoint. And, I'm sure they have a lot of other problems behind the scenes that are resulting in their kind of slowdown there. But the Vive has been a really strong part of their catalog. So to move that, to kind of merge that in with this trend of mobile VR and bring Vive into their phone world, I think is really smart.
Yeah, I like the Vive that from the times that I've tried it. I don't like it $800 worth, but I do. And I think that is the problem that a lot of people are having. You've got the early adopters, everybody who was going to spend that much money got it, and now the rest of us are just like, it's too expensive.
Yeah. I don't know what they would be alluding to, though, if this is not a slap the phone into the headset sort of thing. Maybe it is something where the headset is standalone and, the phone's in your pocket. So instead of slapping the phone in, and in doing that, maybe that ends up being better optics in the viewer, but still less expensive than the full-blown Vive, using your smartphone to run and operate the technology behind the scenes, but having a standalone headset to kind of drive the pixels that are sent to your eyes. Maybe that's what they're talking about, but I guess we'll see.
So you think HTC's problem is a marketing problem? Like, I
think that's a part of it.
But I mean, have you ever loved an HTC phone?
Absolutely. Yeah, HTC's had some really strong phones. The problem is they get overshadowed entirely in the market. Samsung has just steamrolls over them, and they've made some bad decisions over the course of however many years, with some of their devices and everything. But I think most people, at least in the Android world, would totally agree that from a quality standpoint, HTC hardware is always very nice. And a lot of that's a quality that people want out of their devices. More and more people want a smartphone that feels good, that looks good. HTC's really had an attention to detail in that regard for quite a while. It's just other things that kind of bog them down.
For the first time, Amazon has released numbers that give us a better idea of how much money the company brings in through its Prime subscription service. Now, Amazon has been notoriously cagey about their Prime numbers, but the company has detailed their retail subscription services in their 10-K filing for 2016. Amazon says roughly $6.4 billion came from Prime, but that does not include the company's net shipping costs for the year, because of course Prime is free shipping, so they're paying that end, or how much Prime members spend a year as opposed to non-Prime members, which is, we assume, a lot. Morgan Stanley said 40% of Amazon Prime members spent over $1,000 every year.
Wow.
And that's also 4.6 more than non-Prime members. So these are numbers that people are really watching because the shipping is important. It changes, it fluctuates according to gas prices, of course, and that's why they've been pushing their drones as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Amazon really hasn't been very forthcoming on exactly what Prime, like everybody knows Prime is insanely popular and that it drives a lot of revenue for the company. They haven't really given a whole lot of exact numbers as far as that's concerned. So this is kind of a big tell, and it's certainly very eye-opening. Prime sales up 43% year over year. Last year it was $4.5 billion. So I mean, that train just keeps steamrolling through. I love Prime. I mean, what can you say? It's popular for a very good reason. It's great value.
Yeah, I tried to wean myself off of Amazon a couple of years ago.
Support the local players, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and just not get so much stuff shipped. Like I got toilet paper shipped, dog food shipped, everything. But that was right before they announced the Amazon Echo. And then they announced it, and then you could buy it, but only if you're a Prime member. And that is all it took to get me back in Prime.
Yeah, just when I thought I was out,
yeah.
Amazon pulled me back in. Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand.
Well, bye-bye, PewDiePie. After the break, we will find out why brands should think twice before partnering with popular YouTubers. But first, let's take a minute to thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, the sponsor of this episode. Now, choosing a mortgage lender, it is a really big decision, right up there with all of your big decisions. And it's important that you work with someone who you can trust, who has your best interests in mind. And with Rocket Mortgage, you'll get a transparent online process that gives you the confidence to make an informed decision. You don't have to waste time searching through stacks of paperwork. With Rocket Mortgage, you can securely share your financial information to get a mortgage approval in just minutes. You can adjust the rate and the length of your loan in real time to make sure you get the mortgage solution that's just right for you. So whether you're looking to buy a home or refinance your existing mortgage, you can lift the burden of getting a home loan with Rocket Mortgage. You're a geek. We know you're a geek. I'm a geek. We like to do things at home. We like to use the internet. We like to not talk to people face to face if we don't have to, and Rocket Mortgage will allow all of that. So skip the bank, skip the waiting, and go completely online at quickenloans.com/TNT. That's quickenloans.com/TNT. Don't forget the TNT. Tell them we sent you there. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support.
All right, so we mentioned very briefly on yesterday's show that PewDiePie, the most successful YouTuber in the world, if you have never heard of him, ran into a bit of controversy, to say the least, that saw him booted from YouTube's preferred list as well as dropped from Disney's Maker Studios. Joining us to talk about some of the pitfalls for brands when it comes to internet influencers is Sammy Main from Adweek. How's it going?
Hi, everybody. This is like the opposite of the last time I was here. It's so good to talk to you guys, though.
It's great to talk to you, too. So first, explain a little bit about what led exactly Disney and YouTube to kind of distance themselves, putting it nicely, from PewDiePie.
Yeah, distance is I guess the right way to put it. But over the past few weeks, PewDiePie had been uploading a bunch of different videos, and some of them happened to have anti-Semitic messaging. He wrote in a Tumblr post that wasn't his intention, but that he was trying to bring to light some of the various things that are out there on the internet that are also anti-Semitic. And it took 9 of these videos for the Wall Street Journal to notice. So shame on the rest of us journalists for not picking up on it sooner either. And once they kind of reported it, both Disney's Maker Studios and YouTube kind of decided that wasn't for them. And it wasn't fair for advertisers to kind of be put in that situation as well, because, they assume that the most popular YouTuber, everybody's watching him, so they want to put their ads there. And then turns out he was saying some pretty terrible things.
So you say shame on us journalists for not noticing, but I don't know about you, but PewDiePie isn't what I like to enjoy in the evening, sitting on the couch.
You don't sit down with a remote control on PewDiePie's playlist?
I don't, but I do have 11-year-old twin boys who do watch him, and so this was a good opportunity for me to have what we call as parents a teachable moment. And they had seen it, and they explained to me that, which I'm sure if you've read into this, that he was trying to prove how crazy the internet is these days. And he was using a service called Fiverr, where you can pay anyone to do anything, right? And so these people held up a sign that said "Kill all Jews," and he thought that was funny, and that's not funny. But I guess my point is, it made me question, what does an influencer mean? Because it's just, you think about, there were so many views, and I heard a lot of people saying, who are all those people that saw that and didn't say anything? And I mean, those people, a lot of them were children. And so do you think there's the question of ads and brands, but also the idea that there's no rating system really on YouTube? Is that something that brands, do you think, will demand?
I think this is almost also, it's kind of with all of those subscribers, how many of them are paying that much attention, and there's no editor. There's no editor of YouTube. Anybody can upload anything, and as long as it's not, nudity or something that's very quickly, easily flaggable, it'll pretty much stay up unless it does violate some of their contingencies and rules. So it kind of goes into maybe paying more attention to what, in your case or in other people's cases, if your kids are online, paying attention to what they're seeing and being able to catch it as soon as possible. I think maybe people should be paying more attention to these popular YouTubers, and maybe if YouTube had caught on, or if they had a problem before other people had a problem, then maybe they could have led by example. As it is, they did kind of take away future opportunities from him, as well as, Disney's Maker Studios, which is going through its own changes as well, did kind of drop him from their roster. I think it's weird, like you pointed out, kind of so many different kinds of people can be influencers now. Maybe you follow somebody on Snapchat and you think they're so funny, or maybe you really like their Instagram posts because they're so artsy. It's very easy to be persuaded by what they think. And so I'm glad we were able to kind of catch this before it got too far. Like you said, it wasn't a very good joke. If he was trying to make a joke, it wasn't a good example. As somebody with that many subscribers should know better. And so it's kind of on all of us to make sure that they are doing the right thing, and that there's something to say about freedom of speech, but that was maybe taking it too far, or taking advantage of 53 million subscribers a little too much.
Yeah, it's really hard to say in that regard, because I completely agree with you. At the same time, PewDiePie's entire career is based on pushing boundaries and being controversial. And he's, this is by no means the very first time that he's said very out there things that are offensive to a lot of people. And I think a large part of his fan base following, and kind of what you were alluding to, is possibly this is because many of them are young, are children. A large part of that fan base, that's what they appreciate about him, is that he's willing to make these very controversial jokes, and they understand, or at least they claim to understand, that he is not inherently a racist person necessarily because of these jokes. Having said that, there's the wider kind of optic of the fact that the world right now is extremely sensitive to this very topic. And how does that get interpreted? What I want to know is, how do companies like Disney, of all companies, misunderstand the potential of an influencer like PewDiePie? I mean, he has a history. So if Disney really felt strongly about this ethical line, I mean, before they put their money where their mouth was, as far as kind of putting him to work for them, as a company, you got to kind of do your homework, right?
Exactly, and that's kind of in the article that I did. Right, I write for Adweek, and that was kind of what we were scrolling through before. Somebody that I spoke with kind of equated it to Jackass back when that was on MTV, and like what kind of brand or company advertises against that? It's got to be somebody who doesn't mind their messaging being next to that kind of program. And there's a program for everybody. There's a brand for everybody. So it's kind of interesting because on YouTube, it is a free platform for people to use. But if you're a part of that YouTube preferred program, I think brands, and maybe not Disney, maybe Disney just wasn't paying attention to what one of their top influencers was posting. But brands probably just look at reach. They probably just look at how many views these videos are getting, how many subscribers these influencers do have, and they're just buying against that. And it really does come down to, like you were saying, just doing that extra bit of homework, just maybe paying attention, even if you've already bought, a sponsorship, or just checking in every few weeks, just to make sure it's something that you kind of still want to stand next to.
It is a really interesting commentary on free speech, because he still has his YouTube channel and no one's taking that away. He can still say whatever he wants, but he can't. He's lost his advertising. He's lost his preferred advertising status. He's lost Disney, and so do you think this will be a wake-up call to advertisers in the future, or do you think this was a one-off?
Kind of also in the piece, I talked to some really smart people. It's a good piece, I promise. But what somebody else also said was this happens so much more infrequently than other celebrity spokespeople. Like if Ryan Lochte can almost ruin Brazil and still come back with different sponsors a couple months later.
Good point.
Like we constantly have those types of missteps. Or the example somebody used in the piece was, you always hear of a celebrity stumbling out drunk, puke everywhere, all over tabloids, and that's all you're going to see for a couple of days. But there's still maybe like a fragrance spokesman. Like they still have brands that are going to be attached to them. Maybe they went to court for like marital abuse, and there's still going to be, people who don't mind that stigma is there because they want people to move forward and they want, to give people another chance or whatever the choice may be. I feel like we see it a lot more frequently in the celebrity kind of spokesperson space, and we've seen not too many from the influencer side of things. I think it's still something that people are feeling out. Not too many brands are like heavy into this space, but I think influencers are usually pretty aware of how their audience views them, and they want to make sure they keep their fans, because their fans are the whole reason that they are influencers. And so I think they're used to walking that fine line, and we don't see it very often at all from influencers.
Well, Jason brought up earlier that this was just a really hard time right now, and to make Nazi jokes. I mean, there were websites that were pro-Nazi websites that were then taking this on face value and not understanding the joke. And it brings back this idea of a rating system on the internet, because I do believe in free speech. Because it reminded me, when I watched the video, it reminded me a little bit of Sacha Baron Cohen, who did Borat and movies like that, where he would go to places and sort of make fun of them a little bit and bring out people's racism, their inherent racism. And that was fundamentally different than what PewDiePie did, which was PewDiePie put this sign in the hands of people who did not know what it said and made fun of them. And that's very specific kind of satire, and that he failed at it. And I think those things, when you just throw that out to 53,000 people, you're going to...
53 million.
53 million, sorry. I'm so bad about
Way
that.
more anymore.
53 million people, you're going to have some people that are going to misunderstand it. And I think that something has to change there. I don't know what it is. Do you, Sammy?
If I knew, if only I had all the answers, it never would have been a problem.
Solve the world's problems, Sammy. That's all we're asking, please.
I'm getting to it, I promise. Soon.
Awesome. We really appreciate you coming on today to talk about this. Sammy Main, of course, with adweek.com. Where can people follow you online?
You can find me at Sammy Main. That's SAMIMAIN on Twitter. The background picture on Twitter is of Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg. That's how you know you're in the right place. They make a great TV show on VH1. Check it out if you need a laugh in these dark, dark times.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we'll have you back soon, Sammy.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Have a good night.
So I want to thank Smitty, Master Sergeant USA retired, and all the rest of you who are constantly making me smarter. He writes about VTOL, VTOL, which I was calling VTAL. VTOL, not VTAL, vehicle takeoff and landing. It's vehicle takeoff and landing. Vertical, vertical takeoff and landing. Thank you again, Burke, for making me smart. That's as opposed to STOL or STOL, that's short. And CTOL, conventional takeoff and landing, or STOVL, STOVL, that's short takeoff and conventional landing. Meeting these varying needs is most of why the F-35 is so expensive.
I'm so confused right now. I'm so confused. But that's why
you're not allowed to fly a plane.
Exactly. That's why Smitty is Smitty. Thank you for being Smitty and being way smarter about this stuff than we are. Up next, we'll talk about the modern technological Sophie's choice, a Sophie's choice of the modern technology era. But first, let's take a minute to thank Grasshopper. They are the sponsor of this episode. Grasshopper is a virtual phone system designed for entrepreneurs. Grasshopper actually works just like a traditional phone system, but requires no hardware purchase. You already have one. It's a smartphone. With their iOS and Android app, callers can reach you wherever you are on your mobile phone. Grasshopper allows you to keep your existing number so you can maintain your brand. When you make a call, your client's going to see your Grasshopper caller ID instead of your personal phone number, even though it's on your personal device. You simply select a toll-free or local number. You can record a custom greeting, add multiple extensions for your business. Toll-free numbers, of course, are supported. They're great for marketing and making your business sound even more professional. You can set up department and employee extensions with custom call forwarding to any phone in the world, so the world is your office. You can get voicemails emailed to you as audio attachments. You can also send and receive SMS text messages from your business number. Join the over 250,000 Grasshopper customers today. Plans start at just $12 per month. You have a full 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have no reason not to check it out. Turn your smartphone into a business line with Grasshopper. To save $50 in your order, just go to trygrasshopper.com/twit. That's trygrasshopper.com/twit, and we thank Grasshopper for their support. All right, TNT's fan of the day is Dave. He emailed us this picture saying, "Here I am in the snow and cold up here east of Toronto." It's got some comfy slippers I can see there. Keeping warm and watching TNT. Lots of laughs and info. Always watch on YouTube. No Twitter for me. Noted. But you do have a nice glass of wine there, and we appreciate that. Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup. Post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, and use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we'll find it.
According to Jalopnik, a heroic driver near Munich, Germany, risked his life and his Tesla to save a man who'd had a stroke behind the wheel of his Volkswagen Passat. The Tesla driver pulled his car in front of the runaway Passat to force it to stop. And Elon Musk says Tesla will pay for the damages on the Tesla.
Boom.
For all the free advertising we are all, including us, giving them right now. It's a pretty amazing story. So the guy in the Passat had a stroke. The guy in the Tesla saw him swerving. He was like hitting the guardrail a little bit. So he pulled in front of him. The Tesla driver pulled in front of him and just so he could slow down. And he just, hit the bumper and slowed down until he stopped.
Gradually and slowed, stopped. He had called the fire department before he started all of this so that they would intercept with him so that once they were stopped, someone would be there quicker than if he had gone through that and had any sort of delay. Super smart in a clinch.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. You brought up before the show, self-driving cars should have this feature automatically, like maybe you can go into rescue car mode or something and rescue somebody else's car.
Well, but I brought up the bigger issue is what if we're, because this is the biggest problem is going to be when some cars are self-driving and some are us still driving. So let's say the same situation happened, except the Tesla was autonomous. Would the robot car have sacrificed itself for the person who had the stroke? I don't know. We need to program that into the robots, making them selfless and brave like this driver.
Yeah, we need some sort of programming in there to tell the car it's going to be okay. Elon Musk is going to fix you.
He's going to, yes, Elon.
It's all right.
He probably, that's what we need to program that into.
TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us at TNT@twit.tv. We've got an audience here today. It's pretty awesome, I got to say. Scott, Adam, and Maud are here sitting in. We appreciate it, you guys. You can also leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT-SHOW, and you can find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV.
Yes, and you too can be like Scott, Adam, and Maud. Email tickets@twit.tv, and you can come and sit here with us. And you can also find all the ways to subscribe to our show at twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to tweet at me about your vision of morality in self-driving cars, please do. I'm at Megan Maroney.
And I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to our technical director, Brian, of course. Thanks to Bert for helping out in the studio. Thanks to Kevin for editing the show. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.